Hi everyone. So in this lecture we will continue to discuss on JUnit 5 assertions, and today we will discuss about assert null method. So friends, assertions API provide a static assert null method. So this method helps us in validating that a particular object is null. So what it does is, this method takes an actual value and it checks whether it is null or not. So if the actual value is null, then test case will pass, and if actual value is not null, then test case will fail. So using this assert null method, we basically assert that whether object is null or not, and if the object is null, then our assertion is passed, and if it is not null, then it is failed. So there are various overloaded methods of assert null. First one takes in an object. It asserts whether the actual value is null or not. The second method takes in an object and a string message. So it asserts whether the actual value is null or not. In case if the actual value is not null, then the test case will fail with a provided message. So this string message comes into picture when the actual value we have provided is not null, as this would fail the test case, and in the JUnit console we will see the message. The third method takes in an actual object, and along with it takes in a supplier functional interface. So this functional interface will supply a message when the test case will fail. So here you see, if the actual value is not null, then the test case will fail with a provided message through supplier interface. The main advantage of using supplier functional interface is that it lazily evaluates to string only when the test case fails. So in the second method, this string message gets evaluated every time whether the assertion is failed or pass. But in the third method, as we are using this supplier functional interface, it gets evaluated only when the assertion fails. So friends, there are three overloaded methods of assert null. Now let's go to Eclipse and see the demonstration of assert null method. So friends, in our JUnit 5 project, let's see the demonstration of assert null methods. So in the source folder, in book service, in order to demonstrate assert null method, I will be creating a method which will return an instance of book, and I will give the name to method as get book by id. So this method will take a book id. We will iterate the list of books one by one. We'll compare the book id, and if the book id matches with any of the books present in list of books, then we'll simply return the book, or else we'll return null. So here we'll simply iterate list of books, and here we'll provide a if condition. If book id equals book dot get book id. If it is equal, we'll simply return the book, and if none of the book id matches, then we'll simply return null. So here we are returning null so that we can demonstrate assert null method. So let's go to our test folder. Here we will create a class. We'll give it a name as assert null demo. We'll keep it in a package assert null. We'll do finish. So in this class, I will create a test method. assert null with no message. So here I will be demonstrating the first overloaded method of assert null, which takes in no message. I will import the test annotation from awk.junu.jupyter.api. So in order to test book service, first we will create the instance of book service. We'll import the book service. Then we will create two books to add into our list of books. So the first book would be, let's say, head first Java book. So we'll give it a ID as 1, title as head first Java, and publisher as, let's say, Vrox. We'll import book. I'll just copy it. We'll create another book. We'll give ID as 2. We'll give title as head first design pattern. Let's say I give the publisher as Pact. So we have created two instances of book. Now using this book service, I will just add these two books. So here in book service, we have this list of books. So I have added two books to this list of books. So friends, here I will be calling getBookById method. We'll pass in a book ID and we'll check that whether a book is present in list of books or not. So here I will be calling getBookById. And let's say I provide ID to it as 3. So friends, we know that we have added a book by ID 1 and 2. But if we search with ID 3, we will get back a null value. And this null value we will assert in our test method. So actual book. So once we get back an actual book, here we will provide a assert null. We pass in actual book. So this assert null is present in assertions.assert null. So here you can see that it's a static method in assertions API. So friends, here we are testing getBookById method. We are checking that if you have provided any book ID and if that book ID is not present in the list of books, then the null should be written. So here we know that we have added two books with an ID as 1 and 2, and we are calling getBookById by passing in 3. So this 3 is not present in list of books. So we know that if book ID is not present in list of books, we are expecting a null value. So whatever is written from this getBookById method, we are capturing that and we are asserting that it should be null, because book with a book ID 3 is not present in list of books. So if I run the test case, so friends, here you can see the test case got passed, because what we expected that it should be null, we got null. So this assert null actually validates that whether the object provided is null or not. So if the object provided is null, then the test case will pass, and if it is not null, then the test case will fail. So friend, let's suppose if I do a get book by ID 1, so we know that book ID 1 is present in list of books. So here we will get an actual instance of book which is not null, and if you are passing that actual book into assert null, the test case will fail because the actual book is not null. So if I run the test case now, so here you can see the test case got failed with an assertion failed error saying that expected was null but was the actual instance of the book which got returned. So friend, this was the first overloaded assert null method. Now let's see the demonstration of second assert null method. I'll just copy paste and I'll give the name as assert null with message. So the second overloaded method takes in two parameters. One is the object on which we want to assert for the null value, and second is the string message. So let's say here we provide a message as book is not null. So here we have provided a customized message that book is not null. So this message will be printed in the JUnit console to provide us the extra information that why this assert got failed. So if I run the test case, you see the test case got failed with an assertion failed error, but this time it printed book is not null, and then it printed the default message that expected was null but it was the actual instance of the book. So friend, this was the second overloaded method of assert null. Now we'll see the third overloaded method. So I'll give the name as assert null with message supplier. So friend, this assert null method, instead of taking a direct string message, it takes in a supplier functional interface. So this supplier functional interface, whenever the test case will fail, will provide us a customized message. So the only advantage here is that this supplier functional interface lazily gets evaluated only when the test case will fail. If it doesn't fail, this functional interface never gets evaluated. So if I run the test case now, the output would be same. It gives an assertion failed error with our customized message that book is not null. So friend, these were the three overloaded methods of assert null. So if I give an invalid book ID, let's say 4 in all the three methods, and we know that 4 is not present in the list of books. So if I run all the test cases now, we will see that all the three test cases are passed because book ID 4 is not present in list of books, and whatever this get book by ID returns, it's a null value, and we are asserting that whether it's null or not. So it is actually null. So all the test cases got passed. So friend, this was all about assert null method. I hope you like this video. Thanks, have a nice day.